What up? How y'all doing? It's the Dog Rising Show. Well, the Dog Rising Show. Well, the Dog Rising Show. And I'm Doug Rice. Biddy. Oh, yeah. Oldies and goodies. How you doing, folks? Yes, it is me, Doug Rice. Welcome to the Doug Rice Show. 18th of August. I have been gone. Yes. What have I been doing? Well, let me tell you. I've been going through it like every last one of you while keeping up with all that's been available to keep up with. I've been watching all of our brothers and our sisters on all of these shows and lives on YouTube, just disseminating the information, just dissecting it, just looking into it. And I have built up a crescendo of response that will be met with critical applause, hopefully. How you doing there, folks? Welcome to the Doug Rice Show. My name is Doug Rice. Yes, if you did not catch, let me adjust. If you did not catch today's offering on Sister Eve's show, let me tell you, it was something to see. Better yet, if you did not catch her show yesterday involving Brother Tiao and I call him Brother Tiao. I know it's Tiao and Brother Yacoba, Tiao Ministries, who put to rest in my mind today the assertion that Jerusalem may in fact be in Ethiopia. But that aside, my brothers, my sisters, I am here to talk about the condition that we face every day as we go about this nation trying so desperately to survive, simply so that we may experience that second Exodus we all await. And these last few weeks, we have seen it all happen. Where shall I begin? God only knows. Well, let me go ahead and start with the shot heard around the world. I know I was out of pocket when that occurred. My YouTube account had been suspended temporarily because of my response to the BET Awards, of all things. Yes, I sent a direct message to the producer, and I dared him to come on my show where I would skewer him publicly. I believe saying skewered is what got me suspended for a few days. So I wanted to wait till all of my platforms were back in full action before I took the stage to give you satisfaction. And today is the day. Do me a favor, folks. Like, subscribe, share. I'm going to give you an update. I'm going to tell you where I've been. I'm going to go there. Right now, let's discuss without much fuss. Let's talk about it, shall we? First things first, there was no shot aimed anywhere near Trump. All right, so that is now a done deal. We are no longer even entertaining the possibility that anything resembling a bullet came near this man, because it did not. Now, I have some familiarity with being injured. I am old enough to have had a few scrapes, and I know how long it takes things to heal. I dare say any high velocity projectile moving past someone's ear at such close proximity may leave more damage than simply less than a flesh wound, taking less than a day or two to heal, with no photos, no pictures, no backup. The government knows the man did what he did and let it lay, because the cretins that follow this awful human being, this feckless piece of trash named Donald Trump, this child rapist. I'm not going to say accused anymore. Donald Trump is a child rapist. Okay? Because if he rapes a woman, he'll rape a child. Fuck him. I don't like him. Now, be careful, folks. Your ears, if they are tender, today I have so much to let loose upon the listeners to the Doug Rice Show. If you have virgin ears, I advise you get the fuck out. I've never claimed to be a religious leader. That is not my purview. That is not my charge. That is not my position, and I will stay in my own lane. I'm going to tell you why, folks, because I don't even want to approach looking like I'm trying to be respectable. Fuck that. I just want to be me. What can I say? So back to this supposed shooting. It never occurred. Never happened. Donald Trump is a fake, a fraud, and a part-time broad. Now, I know y'all, that dated me, for y'all that don't know that rather archaic term. But to come back to center, we know this man had nothing aimed or shot at him. And they are playing it up on these social media platforms like he has offered his life in sacrifice to the masses who look upon this disaster and think it the next best thing. And I will tell you, plays into our topic, the final days of what we are experiencing. This man is ushering in as the tip of the spear the intent that these Gentiles tend to vent, and let me tell you, they'll do so without relent. They have a plan in place. And I'm going to tell you part of that mechanism, part of that plan in my eyes lays right at the feet of that occurrence, that false flag operation put on by Donald Trump. No one shot this man anywhere, anytime, any place. It will be used along with all of the other things he intends to infuse into the minds of these weak-minded Edomites. The charge to attack and go after all those in opposition to sanity, fairness, common sense, specifically those who are Negroes. Now, you might not like it. You may not like what I'm going to say today because I intend to say it in a certain way, and I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go away. That's what I'm going to do today. Donald Trump will be just the first strike, the first swing, and all the things I'll talk about. I follow a lot of folks, I follow and look at so many videos. While taking this hiatus forced upon me through YouTube's punishment, I tended to think, what am I doing this for? Why am I doing this? Where do I fit in the great chasm of so many who have joined the fray of trying to express out into the population of Negroes the need to get away? Why am I doing this and where I fit in? Well, I figured it out. I think I got an answer. Here it is, folks. I'm the show that you look at after you've looked at everybody else. I'm the show, the Doug Rice Show, because I'm not religiously inclined to try to affect your mind. That's not where I'm at. I'll leave that to other folks. More folks that are more learned, more studied than I, more entrenched in the things concerning spiritual matters, like TIAL Ministries. Now, I'm going to start with those guys because if you're not looking at them, don't bother looking at me. I'm going to say it again so that you understand and see. These are the people that inspired me to do this. And so now where do I fit at the end of the line? That's where I fit. I felt privileged and honored to be not just a moderator on Sister E's show and the other shows that allow me to moderate TIAL Ministries. But when I'm on the panel with these brothers and sisters, these blessed Negroes, these individuals touched by the hand of Almighty God, I realize I belong at the end of the line. I'll be there. So if you intend to follow me, if you intend to subscribe to my YouTube channel, my Facebook, if you're going to go to my Twitter, I hope you do because, God, I sound bitter. I'm just kidding. If you do that, be sure if you tune in when I do a show, and I'll be doing them more often, Be sure that you've looked at TIAL, Sister E, Covenant Awakenings, Shonda, all of these folks, all of these brothers and sisters who have done the work. I'm just a guy that moves air from one place to the other. I'm just one notch above a jerk. All right, folks, back at it. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, share. You watch those individuals out there. You make sure to study, make sure to crack open that Bible, those scriptures. Make sure to check and double check everything said to you by these individuals because they expect you to do so. Yes, they do. The reason I am so adamant about these specific individuals, and let me not forget Dante Fortson, who was right there at the tip, the very beginning of my discovery into who we are as a people. Right after Ron Dalton, there was Dante Fortson, and then Tim Burnell. You guys probably don't know about Tim Burnell. He's a very good writer. And then, you know, T.I. Ministries and Sister E and all these other individuals. And yes, Big Judah too. I know some folks think he has gone out of his mind. He is not. He is a Negro. And he's all we've got, you know. We're all he's got. That's what I meant to say. And so, folks, again, in finding where I belong in the lineup of shows that you might want to look at, and the lineup of lives that might affect your lives, I would say at the tail end is where I belong. And the only reason you might come to even take a listen to what I have to say is because you've already been through the gambit of offerings that are sent out to Negroes worldwide by more capable men and women than I. But let's continue our soiree into current events, shall we, so that I continue without relent. This is the Doug Rice Show. Thank you so much for showing up. I do not have too many guests. I don't have folks on. It's not just because I do it alone. It's because I don't know too much about the technology to get everybody on board. I'm not using the streaming service that the other brothers and sisters use. I may turn that around. I don't know. I'm happy with Restream, which is what I use. And so that, along with the fact I think I can carry this show, I do, just so you know. So again, that's first. Trump, that to me seemed like a catalyst. His attempted fake assassination seemed to me like a touchstone. The beginning of something that he wanted to begin that didn't truly begin. But he's going to ride that through this election because he hopes that he can win. The fact of the matter is, folks, we're in a precarious position. These recent events have put us there. A lot of things going on, folks. A lot of things, a lot of wars, a lot of shootings, a lot of, well, you guys know. You got the Middle East situation. They're fomenting that beyond belief. We're on the precipice of a world war every single moment of our lives in this country. It seems that way, doesn't it? But as others have pointed out, they seem a bit hesitant to pull the trigger. Well, I'm going to tell you that current news, which is at our doorstep every day, that threat of Putin launching against Ukraine, the threat of Israel launching against Lebanon, the threat of North Korea launching against the United States, these nuclear threats that face us every day that seem unable to come to fruition. Well, I'm not trying to press our luck, but I'm just saying, it seems that they're avoiding something. They're avoiding that one thing that may tip the scales in our favor. As we've said earlier, and forgive me, this is all about Negroes. Everything that we see going on is about you and me, and it's been going on for so long, and now we see this is about Negroes. And anything that they may do to tip the scale and allow that to openly become a conversation, I think they're terrified of moving left or right or center or back or forward. I don't think they want to make a move. Because while all that's going on, while they have the attention of the globe in so many different directions, I'm taking a look at Negroes Wake Up, and it is growing in an exponential direction. And if you notice, what they're doing while we're awakening is playing it real cool. They don't want to say too much about this Negroes thinking they're Hebrews thing. They're not too keen on pointing the spotlight. They had to do that once a few years ago with Kaye and Kyrie, and they don't really want to repeat that performance, so they'd rather quietly ignore this awakening that seems to be enveloping the entire Negro community. In one way or another, there are those that hear who we are and choose to ignore, go back to the Plantation Baptist Church and get filled with the Holy Spirit, jumping up and down in the middle of the aisle. That's some feel-good religion right there. But we have here, the awakening is nothing to feel good about, not just yet. So we watch as these two, or rather three, dichotomous intersections collide with reality. That's what's happening, folks. They are the woke, they are the unwoke, and they are those that just don't give a damn. Those that have heard we Negroes are true Hebrews and have turned their back. There are those. I call those unwoke. See, not the sleep. Now, the sleep are different from the unwoke. There's a difference. Anyway, moving on. Thank you again for tuning in to the Doug Wright Show. Please like, subscribe, share. Current events. So we got wars. But I'm going to tell you something they're ignoring, folks. I'm going to tell you the thing that they're ignoring and no one seems to be paying attention. They're ignoring the weather that has enveloped the entire planet, the floods that are happening in China. They've allowed dams to burst and flood entire communities, entire places, entire cities, entire areas underwater, displacing hundreds of thousands of people, and they're keeping it real quiet as they watch to see what these hillbillies do. I talked about it today. It's not just the Civil War, the threat of what these European misplaced Edomites might do to one another. It's the response that comes from the rest of the planet against them if they make the wrong move. Right now, the fragmented position the United States finds itself in is increasing. And as I said on Sister E's show earlier, there are plans being made to keep these hillbillies under control. You better believe it. Somebody claimed that these folks may, in fact, try to claim bankruptcy. The United States is a corporation. The United States is a corporation. These hillbillies might determine to just call it a day. And those elite higher-ups are buying property and islands and digging underground and just hoarding up supplies and land, and who knows what their intent is. Perhaps they too have read scripture and know their future. So the current events are playing into prophecy, folks. These Gentiles, these specific individuals. I say that because if you don't look at a Trump rally, then you don't know what I mean. If you haven't looked to see what's behind Trump, then you haven't seen what I've seen. We talked about him earlier. I'm not talking about just these idiots claiming to be white folks that just fall in line, throw away their heritage, their family, their name, their tribe, and just toss the hat in to be white folks. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the individuals that they claim to be Anglo-Saxons and their cousins. Everyone else, I don't know, go about your business, but let's watch these blonde-headed, blue-eyed, pale, devoid of melanin, sun-challenged individuals with every eye that you have. Yes. Current events. What do they do when they get nervous in our presence? Well, according to one unfortunate sister who had the misguided notion that police are there to assist her, called her executioner on sight. And can you believe that in uttering the words to cast out the demon that seems to be in place within all of these creatures, this creature's response was to pull out a service revolver and end her life right then, right there. Now, if there's any indication that there's a problem with these individuals, I would like to use that as an example. Now, let's just say beyond all other information, this individual can seemingly go about it reasonably regular and normal, except when someone throws words at him he does not like. And I want to tell you, the cop said that he felt she was going to harm him in saying those words. And so, folks, where do we stand? Where do we sit? What is our purview? Not just to simply inform each other. There are a few that may be interested in hearing what their future is. I landed on that point because recently I've had the opportunity to interact with more than just a few of these individuals. As I may have mentioned, I hand out free phones. Not too shabby a thing to do. It helps people that need phones. And you come into contact and you look at these creatures, these descendants of the slaveholders who put us in chains. And I got to tell you something, folks, they're not looking good. They are not looking good at all. They seem to be defragmenting under that shimmering, vibrating sun. That sun that seems to be in a solar cycle, releasing CMEs, just throwing charged particles that, for all intents and purposes, examine the kidneys. I think I've told you that. And let me tell you, it's a sad sight. They look, for the most part, those that I see, pathetic. And the ones that don't look pathetic look scared. And so I've come to understand that if you come across one or two that might be inclined to hear what you have to say regarding their future, their past, and what they can expect, you know, there are some that might listen, and that kind of leads into the show today. I came across an individual who needed a phone, just an average white guy. Seemed like a nice dude. He complained about the country and all the things that we complain about, believe it or not. He railed about Trump. He railed about the government. He said it's all going to shit and he doesn't know what to do. And the worst thing about this country is white people. That's what he said. I'm just quoting. Well, I saw that as an opening and perhaps inform him that his forefathers sold him lies. So I opened with that salvo and he listened. I was able to even invite him to tune in to the Doug Rice Show, which is what I do with every phone that I hand out, particularly to brothers and sisters. Kind of how I get the word out. I'm going to build it brick by brick. And so, knowing that there are far many that don't want to hear a damn thing about their culpability and their responsibility and payback and receiving recompense for what their forefathers have done to Negroes, we know most don't want to hear that. This one had an interest. And not only did he have an interest, he listened and agreed. And guess what, folks? I offered him the ability to leave with us if he wants to save himself. And he entertained that as well. Now, this was a white man down on his luck, so we don't know what he may have agreed to. But he seemed interested, and that kind of opens the door. Are we obligated to inform these cretins? Are we obligated to at least give them the opportunity to make the choice? Come with Negroes if you want to live. I know it sounds like a movie, but I think it's a soon to be reality. And that to me almost is a calling for those of us interested in the future. It just doesn't involve us. Now, look, I am Negro-centric, absolutely. But when I'm impressed enough to inform one directly of their choices, well, I'm going to take the chance and do so. And in this respect, it turned out well. And so, what will you do? We are looking at so much, not only a future that will affect us, but a future that will affect those that will cling to us. And I don't want to be so myopic in my daily life as to not at least leave the door open for the possibility to inform Gentiles that their time is coming to a close. So yeah, folks, what are we doing? I mean, what are we doing with our day when we come into contact with Gentiles who might come our way? What is it? Do we simply pass by, shake our head, and wish them luck, or do we take a chance and say, what the? Okay, I won't do that. No, it's an interesting dichotomy. It's an interesting pull, isn't it? Because some of them are just so full of bull. But I got to tell you, folks, the real threat that approaches us is what happens next. And I'd rather have as many of them informed regarding their options as possible. I'd rather have as many of them at least not something I conceive as a threat. And so, I don't know, maybe that's the way to go. Maybe just tell them to tune into the Doug Rice Show. All right, folks. I just wanted to come back, let you know I'm going to be going through this practice of trying to do a Sunday show every Sunday. I've also been told by those that are better at this than I am, that unless I intend to have guests, I should not drone on for too much, and to keep it, as much as under an hour as possible. We've been going on for 30 minutes. Now, I don't typically read the chat. I know folks are used to that, but I do appreciate you folks showing up. I'll read the chat right now, a little bit. Shalom. Shout out to Charisse Reed. Shout out to Kenneth Wilkerson. Shout out to those I can see in YouTube. I can't see everybody, but I do appreciate you being here. David Pickett, longtime supporter. Do appreciate your presence specifically. Thank you so much for all that you do. Ivan Yon Ludum. And where have I been for so long? I've been trying to just keep my head above water, but I keep going strong. And I do appreciate your time and coming here to listen to my rhyme. All right, folks, that's about enough. Again, I'm here only to recap and think about possibilities, bring out a subject or two, go over news. But I'll say it again just before I go. Before you come to see the Doug Rice Show, be sure, please, to follow and listen to TL Ministries. Please be sure to tune in to Sister E, Covenant Awakenings. Shawanda, I can't get her name. It's just so hard. But you guys know who it is. I'm a retard. All right, folks. Thanks so much again. I'm going to take off. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share this live. I am Doug Rice, and I'm out of here. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.